All right, so today I'm going to talk about how to cope at home with everything going on. So, we're spending much more time at home with those we live with than ever before. And this can bring up a lot of things for many of us. There are lots of stressors that we or our family members or people we're living with might be feeling right now, such as financial stress, just stress about what's happening in the world, trying to get their schoolwork done while everyone else is on the internet, just life being really different than usual. You may be feeling more tired than you usually are. And that's very normal because we might be feeling more anxiety or more stress, and those things require a lot of energy, and that means we might need to sleep a little bit more. So, I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways to cope. So, the first thing we want to do is we want to take some inventory in terms of how we're feeling, right? So think about how we're feeling emotionally, if we're feeling down, if we're feeling anxious, if we're feeling happy, if we're feeling guilty, if we're how we're feeling physically, if we've got some soreness in our body, if we've got stomach aches, how we're feeling spiritually, or maybe even intellectually. So when we're doing this, we want to just observe all these different things and not dwell on feeling bad about these things or wondering why that's happening with us. We're just noticing what's going on with us. So, the first category that we're going to talk about for coping is coping through creativity. Coping through creativity can be a really, really amazing way to turn something that we're dealing with that's difficult into something that's really beautiful or really interesting or unique that represents us. Some of us are really creative and have a practice in terms of creativity, and some of us don't at all, and that's totally cool. There's some really awesome apps out there that can help you make some cool art. There are a lot of ways to use technology in terms of creating art or creativity. You could do some coloring, you could do some cooking, writing. Really, anything that feels creative can be really helpful to process these things. The second way in which we can cope is through physical movement. This can look like a lot of things as well. This can look like throwing on a YouTube video and doing some dancing. It can look like putting on one of your favorite songs and just going nuts and jumping around and dancing to that. It can be going on a walk, going on a run, going on a bike ride, running around with your dog, all kinds of things. Really, whatever fits for you is great. The third category is coping through relaxation. If we're feeling really anxious or not feeling relaxed, it can be really hard for us to focus, for us to sleep, for us to have a good appetite, so many things. So feeling centered or feeling relaxed to some degree can be really, really helpful in our lives. There are lots and lots of awesome meditation apps, relaxing music, breathing exercises, all sorts of things like this that can really help center us and help nourish ourselves for later times. The last thing I want to remind you all is that this is new territory for all of us, right? None of us have ever faced this sort of shelter in place situation before, so we're figuring out what works for each of us. And it's totally okay if you recognize, I'm not okay with this. This is really hard for me. That's okay to be in that situation. So I want to encourage you to be gentle with yourselves and recognize that way that maybe works for your best friend to cope maybe might be something that you don't like at all. So if you try to cope with something in one way and it doesn't work for you, that's totally cool. Just throw it out, try something else, right? Keep going until you find something that fits for you. Because ultimately, we're the most important people in our lives, and it's really, really important for us to take care of ourselves.